The Name of the Game is presented by Bravo, the marketing arm of Ash Brokerage Corporation, the practice enhancement company. Welcome to Steve Savant's Money, the name of the game. Hi everyone, I'm your host, Steve Savant, syndicated financial columnist and money gamer extraordinaire. America is the most benevolent country in the world, and many Americans have their own favorite charities. And around the holidays, charitable giving is the reason for the season. And on today's show, we're featuring charitable giving concepts and strategies that can maximize your giving, saving you money on taxes, and all this without taking money away from your heirs. And here to talk about charitable giving, nationally recognized certified financial planner and best-selling author on charitable giving, Dan Nigito. In the G segment, it's game on as we consider charitable gifts to nonprofit organizations. In the A segment, we'll outline the tax benefits of charitable giving on your bottom line. In the M segment, our money mentor, Dan Nigito, will talk to you about charitable gift replacement. And in the E segment, we'll give you some popular ideas for your own charitable giving. Welcome to the show, Dan.
Nice to be here, Steve. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate it. And of course, we're featuring not only Dan Nigito, but his book's out on the street right now. And you can hit it on his website as well as out on Amazon.com. The Power of Leveraging the Charitable Remainder Trust. And it's a great book. If you're thinking, boy, I really have some ideas, there's charities I'd like to give to, this would be a great read. Now, it's really tagged for advisors, but I thought you'd like to read this because to me, if you have any heart for any nonprofit organization, that may be the way to go. Now, you know, I was reading one of your articles. You were talking about this thing called accidental philanthropic kind of ways. I was kind of caught by that word. How can you be an accidental philanthropist?
Well, you know, I talk about that all the time because, you know, everybody knows who the regular philanthropist is. They see his name on the side of buildings, they go to hospitals, they know the philanthropist, they write the big checks, and they get a lot of accolades. But what people don't realize is we're all philanthropists, but we're mostly the accidental kind. And the accidental kind is people who let Congress give their money away for them. So they write their taxes and they pay capital gains tax, income tax, tax on dividend income, estate taxes, inheritance taxes, taxes on retirement plan distributions. And all those taxes go to Congress, who gets to appropriate them to the causes that they want to fund. Not the cause you want to fund, what they want to fund. You're no different a philanthropist than anybody else. You're the accidental kind, and you get no accolades, and no one pays you any attention. You're just a taxpayer.
It sounds kind of like you kind of classify this as a war on wealth.
Oh, to me, there is a war on wealth. And I wrote the book. Actually, I wrote the book more for the consumer than I did for the advisor.
This book for consumers?
Yeah, it's actually written in words of one syllable or less so that people can understand it.
I got it.
And the fact of the matter is that, you know, you look at what's going on to the business owners, to the investor class, to the people who are physicians and professionals and people who are out there earning money on a daily basis. There's a war on the accumulation of wealth, not necessarily the accumulated wealth, but grandparents. I mean, just think about it. As you pay income tax, tax again on the dividend, tax on interest, capital gains tax, then you retire and you pay income tax on all of that, and income in respect of a decedent when you die, and then inheritance tax and estate tax. I mean, it's mind-boggling. Plus, that's only the taxes that you're hit with face on. There's a lot of subliminal taxes that are in there as well regarding Social Security and so forth. But the fact of the matter is that there's such an attack on your wealth that I call a war on wealth. It's a position from government, the way it stands right now. This is not a Republican or Democrat issue. This is a black and white issue. Government is broke. They need your money. And they're taking their money and they're redistributing it to the other causes that you may not believe in. So I say, we want to fight that war on wealth. We want to stop being accidental philanthropists. We want to do that by creating charitable partnerships. A partnership with either your own private family foundation or your church or your college or any number of organizations to create charitable remainder trusts that will help you push money away from taxation, give it to the organizations that you want to do it, and derive a long-term personal benefit for yourself.
Now, Dan, Americans, without question, we are the #1 most benevolent giving country in the world. Nobody gives to aid and all the other issues that happen in the world when people need help and money. We're there to assist.
Not even close.
And I think American people inside our own country, we're very good about taking care of our own as well.
Oh, yeah.
When you think about this, and I'm looking at different hearts, so many people have a heart. You have to have a heart. It's not just a tax issue here.
You know, if you're absolutely right. In fact, if you approach this with a tax incentive, I mean, I just talked about the war on wealth and a tax incentive, but realistically, you got to have passion to benefit something other than government. Benefit your church, benefit your organizations, benefit your college. It doesn't matter, but you have to have it in your heart to give.
A lot of our listeners are saying, I have a heart, I like my favorite charity. I didn't realize that we could do some of the things that you're going to talk about in this book. I mean, when I saw there's a lot of options here, and throughout the regular segments of today's show, we're going to walk you through some of the basic ideas. When I'm looking at a regular person who has some heart, and he has a couple different charities, because you can have more than one apparently.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, when he does that, how does he go about his first steps? What's the first step of saying, I'm interested, I think I want to be a charitable giver, how do I begin?
Well, I think the first thing you got to do is sit down with your financial advisor and look at the wealth that you have or the assets that you have and decide, okay, this is the percentage that I know that I'm going to get killed in taxes on. I have this cause that I want to benefit. I'd like my financial advisor to do some calculations that not only show me the money going to these charities, but show me the tax benefits of that as well, the income benefits back to me and my family, and the wealth replacement benefits to my children and grandchildren.
So this can be not only for their own giving, but it could also generate some tax advantage income, and you could still not lose the gift you gave by replacing it at the same time.
But this is not do it yourself. You cannot do it yourself. You need to have a professional advisor guide you through the process.
I'm with Dan Nigito. We're talking about the power of leveraging the Charitable Remainder Trust. His book, you can catch it out on his site and out on Amazon.com. If you want more information on charitable giving, just email me, steve.savant@ashbrokers.com. You may find some of the ideas for your favorite charity that can really leverage your giving. When we come back from the break, Dan and I are going to outline the tax benefits of charitable giving in the A segment of our show.
Take a close look at your hard-earned dollar. How do you think your money's doing? Are you keeping an eye on it? Is it protected from taxes, inflation, and market risk? Over time, those Washingtons could become Franklins. With tax-advantaged indexed universal life, from one of the largest distributors of indexed universal life, Ash Brokerage.
Welcome back to The Name of the Game. I'm Steve Savant with Dan Nigito, certified financial planner and best-selling author on charitable giving. And just a heads up, before moving forward with any of the ideas on the show, always consult your tax advisor or legal counsel. Coming up in the A segment, Dan and I are going to outline the tax benefits of charitable giving. Well, Dan, I want to talk about, I really appreciate the first segment. We're talking about considering a gift. You have to have a heart for this, as you said.
Right.
Let's say we're there. But now there are some benefits to giving. And let's talk about them, because I think those are popular. I think most people say, well, if I give to a charity, an IRS, nonprofit approved charity, I think you said
501c3 organization,
I get the deduction. But I think about that, but I never think about all the possible deals that these have, these opportunities from a tax point of view.
Well, you start thinking about charitable giving, and the first thing that comes to mind is I write a check, I give it to charity, and it's gone. And that's perfectly okay. I mean, charities live on that, $25 at a time, $100 at a time. That's a gift, a tax-deductible gift. But an advanced form of giving, often called planned giving, is a gift where you get an interest income percentage back from the gift you give, so that you can participate with a charity as a partner. I mean, a charitable partnership is another form of charitable giving. And the charitable partnership is where you give the charity a gift in the form of a trust, for example, and they will receive that gift at some point in time that you designate. That point in time could be 10 years from now, 20 years from now, at the end of your life, the end of the joint life expectancy between you and your spouse.
And what do you mean by joint life expectancy?
I mean, when the second spouse dies, that's when the charity gets your gift.
Oh, got it.
Unfortunately, they call you every day and ask you how you're feeling. That's a downside. But the other part about that is that that's a partnership in that they're going to get a gift someday. Between today and that someday, you're going to receive a benefit from that gift in the form of income stream. It's called a distribution from a charitable trust or a distribution from a gift annuity.
I think this may be new to a lot of our consumers. You know, they think, as you said at the beginning, I write a check, I give it away, I'm done.
It is stunning to me how many people, sophisticated people, don't understand that these types of gifts are even out there. I even had a physicians group talk to me and tell me I was nuts that I couldn't set up a trust like this. But of course you can. It's in a tax code. It's section 664 of the Internal Revenue Code.
And this is down the middle. This is not edgy. This is plain
vanilla. That's
code.
why I say the section of the code, not to impress anybody, but it's in the tax code. It's black and white. It's between, that's right. I always say between the two white lines. There's no gray area here. Mm-hmm. The nice thing about having tax code in support of this is that it tells you what you can do and it tells you what you can't do. And a lot of people try to push the envelope, but there's some really nice, clean, strict rules, and you can benefit tremendously from these trusts.
Okay, so if I give money away, there's going to be a deduction for a lump. Now, not the whole write-off, but there'll be a portion of that.
Well, when you get, you know, especially on these split interest type gifts that we're talking about now, these planned gifts, when I put my money into the trust, it's in trust for charity, but charity is not going to actually get the money till some point in time. So my tax deduction gets watered down, and that's called the present value of the future gift. It's a calculation. You punch it into a computer, and basically what it says is based upon your age or the length of the term of the trust and the interest rate that you expect back from that trust, the income you expect back from the trust, there's a formula that calculates what your tax deduction for that dollar amount would be. So if I gave you a $1,000 gift to charity, boom, it's gone. I get the full $1,000 as my tax deduction. But if I put that same $1,000 in a charitable trust, I may only get 30% of that as my tax deduction because I'm going to receive so much benefit back for the rest of my life or for the next few years. So it's a gift that's based upon the present value of the future gift to charity. It's a don't get hung up on that. It's a calculation. It's a single punch on a computer. It's real easy to calculate.
Well, I like the idea of being able to give to the charity of my choice, IRS approved. I like the ability to say they're going to have this gift in the future, but I also am benefiting with a tax-advantaged income stream. See, this is where I think people are kind of like, wow, that was new to me. The write-off I kind of got. I know it's only proportional because of the future value, as you said, but now I'm getting income from that charity, and part of that is tax advantage. I think that's new.
Well, the income that comes out of a charitable remainder trust, I can't say anymore, charitable remainder trust, the income is taxed under a very unique part of the code called four-tier accounting. Again, it's right in black and white, and basically what it says is that I pay tax on the income to me based upon the trust. If it were a taxpayer, how would it have paid tax? Ordinary income to the extent there is ordinary income, capital gain income, tax-free income, return of principal. So I could take money that I put into the charitable trust, and my entire income stream could be taxed at the capital gain rate, which is tremendous.
So when you see this, you see a lot of consumers really have a heart to do this, and then when you bring the tax items online, this is just like dessert. Yeah. I mean, really, their heart's already there. They're ready to do it. But these advantages, I think, are really not known that well by most consumers.
Well, I agree. If they have the heart to do it, the tax advantages take that small gift and turn it into a humongous gift.
And I always think about this giving things away, but in our next segment that we're going to talk about, hey, you may not have to give away any of this.
That's right.
There could be a way to not only give it to these charities, but also make sure your heirs are whole.
That's correct.
If you want more information on charitable giving, just email me, steve.savant@ashbrokerage.com. You may find some of the ideas for your own favorite charity that could really leverage your giving. When we come back from the break, Dan and I are going to walk you through some of the charitable gift replacement ideas in the M segment of the show.
Take a close look at your hard-earned dollar. How do you think your money's doing? Are you keeping an eye on it? Is it protected from taxes, inflation, and market risk? Over time, those Washingtons could become Franklins. With tax-advantaged indexed universal life, from one of the largest distributors of indexed universal life, Ash Brokerage.
Well, welcome back to the Name of the Game. I'm Steve Savant with Dan Nigito, certified financial planner and best-selling author on charitable giving. And just a heads up, before moving forward with any of the ideas on the show, always consult your tax advisor or legal counsel. Coming up in the M segment, Dan and I are going to walk you through some of the charitable gift replacement ideas. Well, Dan, you know, we're talking about charitable giving. I always think of my early days in the business where people were just very, I want to give away an asset to a charity, that's great, but then my kids feel disinherited. My grandkids, no legacy to give them. You say you can have your cake and eat it too. Talk about asset replacement after I've already given away a gift.
You know, it's wonderful to give a gift to charity. It's another thing to give a gift to charity and have your kids get mad at you because you gave the gift to charity and not to them. And, you know, charity begins at home. We've all heard that before. But, you know, you can leverage, and leverage is not a dirty word. Leverage is a very, we're talking about physically leverage, not, you know, financially leverage. You could leverage the gift to charity if you put it into a trust by taking some of that cash flow, new cash flow that you didn't have before, and using that cash flow to buy an insurance policy. And life insurance policies are very, very consumer friendly these days. So you can buy either a guaranteed universal life contract or a second to die policy that will actually pay the children an equal amount to the charitable trust or more, an equal amount to the money that's going to go to charity.
And when you said second to die or survivorship, now to explain to our audience, because I think a lot of people don't know there is what that is.
It's a vehicle that was really created to deal with the estate tax issues many, many years ago, but it's just like the best wealth replacement tool. It's one policy on both the husband and the wife in this case, averaging the ages and health histories to come up with a premium rate that's far below what an individual policy would be. And the reason it's that is because it's not paid until the second spouse passes away. Well, if you do a charitable remainder trust, for example, like we've been talking about, you do a charitable remainder trust that's going to give you a tax deduction for setting it up, avoid the capital gains on what you put in there to begin with, and then get an income stream for the rest of your life, and then create your charitable legacy. When that charitable legacy is created, it's created at the death of the second spouse. At the exact same time the charitable legacy is created, an equal or greater amount of tax-free dollars is going to go to your children. Whoa, I mean, talk about a game change. I'm giving my assets to charity. I'm selecting who, you know who loses in this deal? Uncle Sam. I shouldn't say Uncle Sam. Congress loses in this deal because Uncle Sam benefits in the long term because as our country grows by charity, we all benefit. But you're taking the tax collector out and you're giving the money to charity and using the cash flow to give an equal amount to your children. So $1 million trust, $1 million goes to charity, $1 million or more goes to your kids. But the kids are getting it tax-free.
So I have the ability to give to the charity of my choice. I could even take income from that charity, and anything that I gave away and tied up in that charity to either develop income for myself or to give to them in the future, I can now replace that entire amount for my children, my grandchildren. I mean, so I have multiple ways to do this.
Multiple ways. And let's just go back to charity of my choice for a minute, because here's where people, their heads explode when I tell them this. The charity of your choice doesn't necessarily have to be one organization or one church, one foundation of one club, one college. It could be your own family foundation. It could be your own donor advised fund. Imagine the Steve Savant Foundation. And Steve puts $1 million into a charitable remainder trust. It's going to do all those great tax things, and at the end of the day, it has to go to charity. Well, what if that charity is the Steve Savant Family Foundation? And on the board of the Steve Savant Family Foundation are kids, grandkids, kids that don't even exist today will someday manage your legacy. And you can do that, charitable legacy, and you can do that both in a family foundation or a donor advised fund through a local community foundation. I mean, think about the power of charitable leverage. You're taking an asset that you're going to lose. You're going to put it into, you're going to give it to charity. You may want to give it to your college. You may want to give it to a number of organizations.
So there's multiple charities you can give to.
Give them multiple charities, including your own.
And I can replace that using either single life or second to die or survivorship life.
Right.
Which gives me the ability, and remember, I like the one thing you said, this isn't coming out of your pocket. This is after you've created this new income stream, which is greater than what the original asset was generating. And now out of that, we're just taking some of that to buy the insurance to replace the gift we gave.
I had a client of mine who father gave her an inheritance of a piano company stock. Well, the piano company had been purchased many times by a few other companies, which became IBM. So her basis was nothing. She was massive holding an IBM stock. She put the stock in a trust, got the tax deduction, avoided the capital gains, got the income, and with the income, she replaced the value of the stock to her kids tax-free.
So this is huge for people who have huge stock holdings and are looking for ways to generate greater income than the dividend they're probably getting now.
Absolutely.
If you want more information on charitable giving, just email me, steve.savant@ashbrokerage.com. You may find some of the ideas for your favorite charity that could really leverage your giving. When we come back from the break, Dan and I are going to give you some of the popular gift ideas for your favorite charity coming up in the E segment of our show.
Take a close look at your hard-earned dollar. How do you think your money's doing? Are you keeping an eye on it? Is it protected from taxes, inflation, and market risk? Over time, those Washingtons could become Franklins. With tax-advantaged indexed universal life, from one of the largest distributors of indexed universal life, Ash Brokerage.
Well, welcome back to The Name of the Game. I'm Steve Savant with Dan Nigito, certified financial planner and best-selling author on charitable giving. And just a heads up, before moving forward with any of the ideas on the show, always consult your tax advisor or legal counsel. Coming up in the E segment, Dan and I are going to give you some popular gift ideas for your favorite charity. Dan, I want to talk about some of the ideas now. We've been talking about some of the mechanics and some of the rules, some basic ideas. I have a big heart, but I have clients also that have small wallets. And I want to use this idea. We talk about asset replacement using life insurance. How about life insurance for the gift? Because that leverages my contribution.
Oh, you absolutely can do that, and we have a lot of people that do. They want to give this planned gift to charity that they owe something in their heart back to charity, but they don't have the cash flow to do it. So what they do is we can take for what it costs for an insurance premium payment. You can create $100,000, $200,000, $1 million gift to charity by virtue of the life insurance proceeds. And basically what you're doing is you're writing the insurance policy, you're taking out the insurance policy, giving it to charity, the charity that you designate, and then when you write your premium payments to the charity, to give it to the charity and they pay the premium for you, those are all tax deductible. And so you've got tremendous financial leverage created by the insurance premium funding the death benefit of the life insurance policy.
So I was looking at a basic concept where I had a 65-year-old male and a female, pretty good health. They were putting away $300 to $400 a month, making the contribution to the charity for a $100,000 gift, which they thought they could never do.
And that's good for the charity too, because the charity has to do their own kind of accounting, and they can count that as a gift when it's an insurance policy, and it's irrevocable with the charity. They can count that in all their planned giving newsletters, and for that becomes a very, very important aspect to them.
I know we haven't talked about this much, but there are some charities that sometimes even match your contribution. Isn't that so?
Charities, I've never seen a charity match the contribution, but there's of course corporations that will do that.
So sometimes if they're in tandem, they're working together. Sometimes they'll say, "Hey, if we get a match, we'll try to give you dollar for dollar."
Absolutely.
I have people say, "I want to give, but I don't know if I can give my money away completely, and I still might need the income. I'm worried about living too long." Give me an idea on that.
Well, on a smaller size gift, you could become a part of what's called a pooled income fund with a charitable organization. And what that is they take a bunch of donors giving like amounts, or not even like amounts, it could be $5,000, $1,000 amounts. You make the gift to I'll use a college as an example, the college, and they take your money and pool it with a bunch of other people's money, and they add it to a fund that they manage and they control called a pooled income fund, and then you get an income stream back from that pooled income fund in a percentage based upon how you gave it to them. So it's a nice way to give a gift but get an income stream back.
Now people don't. I think as we talked about this earlier. You know, that people are discovering, oh, I got tax breaks for this. Wow, that's great because my heart's there. I didn't know I could have these extra tax advantages. But now I'm seeing, well, I'm also generating income. I thought when I gave a gift, it was gone.
Right.
When you talk about doing things like charitable remainder trust, which is your book, really focuses on that issue of charitable remainder trust. Talk a little bit about this because this is one of your mainstays in the book.
I think the charitable remainder trust is like the perfect tool for someone who has accumulated some assets in their life and they want to take care of their charities, take care of their family, take care of themselves. They don't necessarily want to take care of the government because they don't like the way the government's spending their money. So what we do with the charitable remainder trust is we can take a large holding of stock. When I say large, $100,000 and up, but I could take a stock, put it into the charitable remainder trust. I could put a piece of real estate, put that into my charitable remainder trust. I could put my business, I'm going to sell my business. I could put shares of my stock in my business into the charitable remainder trust.
Why would a business person want to do that?
Because then you could sell the business, only if you're going to sell it. You could sell it and avoid the capital gains tax on the sale of the business and do it on a tax deductible basis. Because whenever I set up a charitable remainder trust, I'm going to get an income tax deduction to create the trust, and anything I sell inside the trust that's appreciated in value, I don't have to pay the capital gains tax on. I mean, that's pretty sweet.
And you see some of the small businesses looking at this as an option instead of going out on the market and selling it?
Well, they are going out in the market and selling it, but they're selling it through the charitable remainder trust. I've used this for many businesses. We did one where we avoided $35 million of capital gains tax by using a charitable remainder trust because mom and pop start the business. It grows. Now they want to get it. They have no one to give it to. They want to sell it. Well, they could put some of their closely held stock into the charitable remainder trust, sell it to an outside buyer, not pay any capital gains tax, get a tax deduction, and with that cash flow, they buy the life insurance to replace it back to their children.
Now, I noticed in another segment, I had you on my other show where you were talking about charitable remainder unit trust. So what's the difference on that?
Well, the unit trust is pretty much the same deal. It's in that you could in that when you're going to sell a business, you want to do it through a unit trust. And basically, there's a trust that is a little more flexible. You can add to it as time goes on, and your income stream is based upon the value of the trust as it's valued at the end of each tax year. So you get a fixed percentage of the fair market value of the trust going forward each year.
Well, that's our show for today. I want to thank Dan Nigito for being my special guest in today's Money Mentor. And remember, you can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, or just email me, steve.savant@ashbrokerage.com. And don't forget what the good Reverend John Wesley once said, make all you can, save all you can, give all you can. I'm Steve Savant. See you next week.